All right. We are here today with Regina Bergman of Bridgeport Strategy. And I've known Regina for many years now, a fantastic business consultant with a lot of experience. I'm really excited about this interview, Regina. Thanks for joining us today. Can you just tell people a little bit about yourself, your consulting practice, what you do? Let's start with that.
Awesome. Well, first of all, I'm really happy to be here with you, Pat. Thank you so much for inviting me today. I'm looking forward to this. So, I started my business back in 2015, and so I've been working with clients since that time. And like many businesses, it's undergone many iterations.
Yep.
And it's undergoing an iteration at the moment. So our my focus is shifting slightly, but it's always been about helping business owners to have a business that gives them a financial legacy, gives them a business that can run without them so that they have options when they ultimately decide to leave. Excuse me, when they ultimately decide to move on to
Yep.
something else in their life, whether that's retirement or a different career or whatever that is. And as you and I both know, so many of our businesses, small businesses particularly, don't have that option. They haven't built their business in such a way that it has value to anyone else. And
Right.
so they have to literally close the doors and walk away. And
Sure.
that is not something that you want anybody to go through. I've been through that,
Yeah.
not for that reason particularly, but following the financial crash of 2008, had to
Yeah.
close the doors on a 12 and a half year business that was doing about $5 million in revenue and had to literally close the doors. That's
Yeah.
not a fun thing. So,
I think
yeah.
a lot of business owners have been through that, and myself included, and probably multiple times.
Yeah.
Um, and then when I've sold a business, it was, that someone said that most business owners sell a business for far less than they had imagined.
Right.
And I knew that going into it. And then I just went through that same experience. And I'm like, oh man, that didn't work out the way I wanted it to.
Yeah.
Right.
So I'm on a mission to change that. We
Right.
know that 95% of the calls that come into a business broker, they turn away
Sure.
because they can't help them. It wasn't built in that way. And I'm on a mission to reverse that,
Yeah.
to
Good.
to help business owners have that business that not only supports them now, but supports them in the future. It gives them and their family that financial legacy that they're looking for.
Nice. So what motivated you to get into consulting then?
That's an interesting question. And I've always felt, as long as I can remember, I've felt that part of my mission in life is to help others achieve their full potential. And back in 2014, an opportunity came across my desk uh, to learn more about the coaching and consulting world and go into that world. And the timing wasn't right. My husband was ill, and the timing just wasn't right, and he passed away a few months later. A little short time after that, that opportunity came back across my desk. And I thought, okay, circumstances have changed. Let's check it out. And like I say,
Right.
that was January. I got started in January of 2015. It's
Okay.
been a fun ride. It's been an enjoyable up and down ride, but one I wouldn't trade.
And you met some interesting people along the way,
Oh
I'm
my
sure.
gosh. Oh my gosh, the people I've met, the friendships I've made, the people that have been able to help, the people that have helped me, it's just been phenomenal.
So what advice would you give to someone they want to get into the field of business consulting? What would you say would be maybe some necessary prerequisites, like what people shouldn't be in business consulting, what kind of people should be? Um, yeah,
Yeah, I think
multi-pronged
you have
question.
I think you have to have a heart to help people. You have to have a real desire to make a difference. I know for me, one of the major things is being what I call part of the ripple effect. As I help someone, they go out and do what they do. more
Yeah.
successfully, and they change lives, and then
Yep.
they change lives, and I get to be part of that ripple effect by just helping that one person. And I think that's a huge, at least for me, that's a huge driver in having this type of business, that you really have to have a heart for helping people, and you have to know what your strengths are.
Yeah.
Where are your skill sets? Where are your strengths, that your experiences that you can draw upon to help others? So
Right.
I
And it's not just um, what you hope your strengths will be,
exactly.
because you'll get called out on the carpet,
Oh yeah.
basically. You will get found out. You cannot fake it past a few
No,
days sometimes,
no,
or a few hours. It's not a fake it till you make it position. I mean, you can do some
exactly.
damage in a business, right?
Yeah.
Have you seen that happen before?
Ah, I have. I think just I'm not trying to think of an instance, but there are times when I think, "Oh, I can do this," and then I realize, You're really not
Yeah.
qualified to
Well,
do
I wasn't
X."
even meaning you. Have you seen others get into consulting when they shouldn't be there?
Mm,
Or is it just
yes,
that they approach it the wrong way?
I think it's that they approach it the wrong way. I think, again, I think if your only objective is making money, you're in the wrong career. You're in the wrong career. Go get a job.
Yeah.
This is not a job. This is
You
so
see it
much
as
more.
you see it as a calling then?
I do. I do.
Yeah.
At least for me, it is. And I think the most successful consultants and coaches that I've met over the years, I think it's a calling for them as well. Those who are most successful, and you have to be willing to give
Yeah.
before expecting something in return. It is, yes, there are transactional elements of this, but there are also those elements of giving before receiving.
Right.
And so it's less transactional. You're giving from the heart, you're helping others, and that will come back.
Yeah, for sure. I just think of the model of, you can help people by helping people, right?
Right.
You figure out you're a good consultant if you've given advice and it's worked and you've helped people put it into practice
Right.
and they've actually grown their business.
Yes.
It's not just, I've heard this example before. Um, Someone shows up at their chiropractor's office and they give advice on to the chiropractor and how to run the office a little better. And the chiropractor says, "Oh, you should be a business consultant."
Yeah.
And that person goes off and they sign up and become a business consultant when they don't really know what they're doing yet. They don't have the experience, but they put up the shingle, "I'm a business consultant."
Yeah.
And they struggle and they fail because,
Absolutely.
like, so tell me about experience in business. Um, like myself, you have a couple gray hairs. I've got them
One or
going
two.
here, one or two. I'm trying to be generous here. Uh, there's a couple in there.
Yeah.
And how important is that? And I think as a consultant, like, I know if you're in digital marketing consultant, you can get away with being 22 years old. You're going to help people build chat bots. You're going to help them, do whatever. But as like a strategic business advisor, um, how many times around the block do you have to have been to
Yeah.
know you can help?
I think that's extremely important, that you have experience. I've been in the business world all my life. I've been entrepreneurial since I was a youth,
Sure.
from babysitting and house cleaning and going door to door collecting for March of Dimes. All of those things as a child and as a teenager, and that's led me to pursue this entrepreneurial path. And I actually got to get out of the working for someone else world for a while and into entrepreneurship when I was in my late 20s, probably.
Yeah.
And I love working for myself, number one.
Yeah.
But some of those experiences, like I mentioned, I had a firm that went out of business. I had a regional staffing company, and we were 12 and a half years in business. We had 6 offices. We were doing a little under 5 million in revenue, and the crash of 2008 hit. And by 2000 March of 2009, I had to close my doors. I had
Yeah,
25 staff members. I had 200 employees placed with clients, and had to just walk away. But those, when I think about the experiences of growing that business, when I think about when we hit our first $100,000,
yeah,
it's like, yay, when we hit our first million. And I go back and I think about, what was that like? What was happening in the business? What was I doing? What created that? And then continuing that growth. Those experiences help me to be able to relate to the experiences that my clients are having, so that I can combine that with what I've learned since then, what I've experienced, and pull that together to be able to consult with them more effectively.
sure. And so, at what point, at what stage in your consulting journey did you get to the place where you had solved all the problems and there weren't any more?
Trick question, right? We're not there.
You're not there yet.
We're
Okay.
not there yet. And I'm not sure we'll ever get there. I think
Yeah.
that's a I think that one's a pie in the sky.
Yeah. Unfortunately.
Yeah, there are
Um,
always going to be challenges because we don't live in a static world.
right.
We live in an ever-changing world. I mean, technology is changing in the blink of an eye these days.
Yep.
And, what was good today is bad tomorrow, doesn't work tomorrow. There are, yeah, I don't think you ever get to that place where you've solved all the problems.
Right. And someone had told me once, I think it was Mark Victor Hansen or someone years and years ago. He said problems are like the waves on the ocean.
Yeah.
And, on the waves in the ocean, every seventh wave is a big wave.
Oh,
So
I did
what
not know that.
we get this problem, 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 big problem.
Big problem. Yeah.
And it's like the only break we get from our problems is in the form of a crisis.
Yeah.
Right. And it's a matter of how quick can you solve that problem. And when
Right.
the wave knocks you down, how quick can you solve the problem, get back up on your feet again,
Yeah.
make a couple strides into the ocean before you get
Yeah.
down again.
You know,
And
this past week has been the perfect example of that. So I live in the Houston area, and Hurricane Beryl went right over the top of us.
yeah,
Knocked out our power, knocked out our internet. Some folks still don't have power back on. Where they're 11, 12 days out still without power.
wow,
We got power back on, let's see, it hit on Monday. We got power back on Saturday.
sure,
Internet a little bit later than that. But during that process, something also went awry with my email account. And technology was just wacky. Anything technological just kind of went wacky. Even to the ice maker on my freezer.
wow, really,
It stopped making ice properly until everything got back. It was just crazy. Um, anyway, and I say we were without power. We have solar panels, so we had some power.
okay,
But the power from the grid didn't come back on for 7 days
okay.
or 6 days, whatever that is. Um, where was I going? Sorry.
The
Um,
challenges you face, yeah,
challenges. Yeah. So this past week has all been about getting my email restored.
yeah,
And luckily I had moved most of my appointments from this week because I didn't know if I was going to have power this week or
sure,
not. And so I had freed up my calendar, and I've spent every waking moment figuring out the email situation. Yay, I finally have access to incoming emails,
right,
but I lost 10 days of emails, and I don't know if I'll ever get those back.
yeah,
Don't know who was reaching out to me of incoming emails. And so yeah, that's like the crisis mode.
right,
Right now we're leveling out a bit. I've got email. Okay, what's the next wave that's gonna hit?
yeah. Well, I think you have the gift of laughter and joy
Yes,
which you have to do a lot of that, don't you? Like
you do.
in the face of these challenges, it's like, oh
Yeah.
my gosh,
It's
let's
laugh or
laugh
cry,
about
and
it.
laughter is easier. However, when the frustration level gets high enough, it can be cry.
It can be
Yeah,
correct. There's a
it
lot of stress. Do you take on the stress of your clients as well? Do you feel that, or are you more like
can.
arm's length?
I do feel for them when they're struggling, most definitely, and will do, whatever I can in my power, but know that they have to do things for themselves as well, but whatever I can do to help them. I have
Yeah,
a client who's very struggles with tech, I'll put it that way.
sure.
And so whenever I can help her with something I mean, I'm not a tech genius by any manner
Right.
of means, but
Neither
I
am
have
I.
some basic tech
Yeah.
ability that I can help with some things. So I'll help with things when I can in that nature. So whenever I can help them, I do that.
I just want to go a little bit into this whole topic of joy. Um, are there any? This is, we're in the consulting kingdom here, the Kingdom Business Consultant podcast. And so tell us about one or two scriptures that really speak to you and really
Mm,
help you as you continue on this journey, because the journey, it sounds exciting. You're going to work for yourself. You're going to make tons of money, et cetera, right?
yeah.
Laughing again.
Yes.
You've got a fair
That is
measure of
laughter of
success.
experience.
Yeah. What are those verses that have really spoken
Mm.
to you and helped you along the way?
For me, Patrick, it's not as much the verses themselves as it is the conversations that I have with my heavenly Father,
Yeah.
with and with my Savior, and those inspirations that I get, and listening to those,
Nice.
and acting on them. So for me, it's not. I mean, I read my scriptures every day, but I am not at in any degree what I would call a scriptorian.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and but and they're meaningful to me, and I read them and I love them, and but then 10 minutes later I can't remember where it was or what it was. Okay, so for me it's more of that living in the spirit, if you will,
Yeah.
living in that place where I can receive revelation, asking for help, and then listening for those answers. And you never know when that answer is going to come. As you and I have talked about a
Yep.
certain situation I had, I've been praying for months, or well, I knew months ago something was going to change in this particular situation, but the message, if you will, that I got was just hang in there, and I'll let you know when it's going to
Sure.
change. And literally a couple of weeks ago, while I was taking my shower in the morning, I think the Lord speaks to us in the shower a lot because we're not
Absolutely.
listening to anything
100%.
else.
We should spend more time in
Quiet.
there. I think
We're
that's
yeah,
good.
we're isolated, and He speaks to us there. And the message was just so loud and clear. Do it now. Oh, I wasn't even thinking about it.
No,
It was
he was telling you to turn the shower water off, probably.
yeah.
Like,
There you go.
you've
That's
been
what it
in there
was.
long enough.
You're getting waterlogged. Get out of there. but
Well, that's
but for
good.
me,
Yeah.
that's what it is. It's not so much particular verses as it is just listening to the Spirit, asking for help, and then listening. I can't tell you how many times that I've received miracles in my life, or that the Lord has helped me find lost things, or something. I mean, just things that are
Right.
just defy normal operation, if you will.
Yeah. Well, it just reminds me of what my favorite pastor talks about. He's like, we take in the scripture and we might not remember what it said,
Yeah,
but it still feeds us.
exactly.
Just like I don't remember what I had for lunch, a couple weeks ago,
Right.
but I was still fed by it, and it
Exactly.
still brought me nourishment and strength.
Yes.
And that's what that daily reading and that daily
Yes.
devotional does. This morning, we're on the Bible app, and it was talked about given it will be given to you, right? Pressed down, shaken together,
Taken up.
running
Yeah.
over into your lap,
Yes.
and the same measure that you give, it'll be given
Yes.
back to you.
Yes, I love
And it's
that
like,
one.
oh, it's so good. Like, what does this really mean? And what's the cultural context of that and all that? Anyway, so we want to live in that, and that kind of just shapes our thought process a little bit more for that day. Like,
Exactly.
how am I going to be giving today?
Right.
And how does that shape the way I look at people and the opportunities I'm looking for?
Right.
And then as God blesses our business, what does that mean? Because you know me, we've never owned a house and or anything like that. We're just digital nomads or slow mads, as we say. We take our time as we go. You know, we linger in places, and we're looking for a home, obviously, but um, it's always been about other people.
Right.
And what does that mean? What do you do if you make a strong chunk of money? What do you do with it? Who needs help?
Right. Who needs
Right.
help?
And you
Yeah.
have to be others focused.
I so agree with that. And I think one of the key reasons for my desire to be more successful in my business is to be able to make a greater impact, to be able to
Yeah,
help people. And you can't, there's a limit to what you can do without those funds. It's not about
sure.
the money for me. I've never been money motivated ever. But I am motivated by what I can accomplish with that money. And if I don't have it, I can't
Yeah.
accomplish it.
Well, I know that we want to seek first the kingdom, but I also feel like if God puts an opportunity in your path to make some money,
Yeah.
it would be selfish not to do it because there's so many
Agreed.
people need help. It's
Agreed.
very hard to help the poor practically if you're one of them.
Yes.
Right?
So true. So very
So,
true.
but I think
Yeah.
money is really the it's not the goal, it's the byproduct.
Exactly. It's the
And
tool that we can
yeah,
use
exactly.
to achieve the mission. Yeah.
All right, so let's switch gears a little bit.
Okay.
Just we want to be respectful of our time here. I want to talk about tools or resources that you use, or even tricks of the trade. So, give our audience some tools that they could, or some ways of doing things, or resources, or whatever that you like to use that you think would help you to become a help people become a better consultant. And we don't have to go into the growth engine or anything like that. That's not what this is about. What
Okay.
else is
Okay.
out there that you're using that could be helpful to people?
I will tell you my favorite tool. I'll show it to you.
Okay.
It is a planner. It is a paper planner.
Yeah.
I do use my internet calendar, but in conjunction with this. And I
Right.
have been using this calendar. This is a quarter, by the way. This is 1/4 of the year.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, it's phenomenal. And it helps you. It's developed. You'll love this. It's created by a fella in Canada,
Okay.
and it is called Effic, the Effic Planner, EFFIC,
Okay.
and
EFFIC.
EFFIC, and the creator of it is Dave Ruel, Ruel. He really helps you, or the planner really helps you to make sure that what you're doing every day is in alignment with where you want to go.
Oh,
So you're not just ticking off a list. I've got 10 things that I've got to do tomorrow. Check, 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 check. No,
yeah.
you're every week. Well, first you start off with what are my goals for this year? And you look at your 5 things you want, 5 areas you want to work on for the year. And then in each quarter, what are the top 3 areas that I'm going to work on? And then,
Okay.
the analogy of, the filling the jar with the big rocks, little rocks,
Sure.
sand, water, all of that.
Absolutely.
That's the methodology that's used in it. So what are the big rocks that I need to be working on this quarter? What are the little rocks? And you
Yep.
break it down. And then on a weekly basis, what is it that I need to be doing from that? The number one thing I need to accomplish today, every day
Okay.
of the week. And then what are the other things I need to accomplish?
Yeah.
And so then at the end of each week, you have a notes section, and you also have a planning section for next week. What are the
Right.
things I need to accomplish next week? So you're constantly tying it back to what are my goals for this year? What are my
Yeah.
goals for this quarter? What do I have to do this week to be on target for that? And
Wow.
I have found it to be just such a powerful tool. I have struggled all my business career with finding the right calendar. Stephen
Wow.
Covey's Seven Habits worked fairly well back in the day, but it still wasn't perfect. This is as close to perfect for me as I
Really?
have found. And it just keeps me on track.
Okay.
And it goes everywhere with me. I even take it to church. So, because there's Sunday in here as well, and I can take notes on the sermon or notes, ideas that I got or scriptures that were referenced or whatever. So I can do that on Sunday. When I leave my office, it actually goes with me as well. So that during the evening, if I get an inspiration or a thought, I can jot it down in the planner.
They need a waterproof one for the shower, I think.
Yeah. Yeah, I hear you.
Interesting.
Yeah. But that
Wow.
is just a powerful, powerful tool to make sure that you're on track for where you want to go. Because it's so easy with the crush of daily. I mean, this past 2 weeks with our power issues,
Yeah.
I got away from it because I was so focused on just getting everything resolved.
Yeah.
And so it was like this week now it's like, yay! I'm back to being able to get back on track and know that I'm on track because I know where I'm going. I know what it takes to get there. I know what I
Yep.
have to do today, tomorrow, the next day.
Wow. That's powerful.
It is extremely powerful. I don't want to be without it.
Yeah. I find, we're in a startup and the amount of work to do is phenomenal. Like it's just almost overbearing. And so we just keep
Yeah.
hiring people. And it's like, just the thinking about like in marketing and you've got like email marketing, you've got video marketing, you've got podcasting, you've got SEO and SEM, you've got affiliate management, you've
Right.
got all the metrics and reporting, you've got the budget management,
Yeah.
you've got all the social media, and I look at going, I can do it all, but I shouldn't do it all.
Exactly.
I need someone else to do this.
Right.
And so we've got someone that's coming in and it's going to take that on. And that allows me to be a little bit more strategic with my time.
Right.
But now I've been told by the powers that be that we're in a new um, company management system called Grand Central.
Oh.
And that everything is living in Grand Central. And if it's not in Grand Central, it does not exist, Patrick.
Oh.
So all the processes, all the policies, all the
Everything.
procedures, all the project management we're going to do, including all the marketing, all the deals, all the sales, all the metrics. That's where it lives. And if it's not
Right.
there, it doesn't exist. There's one truth to the company.
Right.
All the management of communication. So it means that I have to learn that it's not okay just to send a WhatsApp and then an email, a follow up on Messenger, and then come over here into whatever else and try and do that with my team member. It's just absolute chaos. And I've been living in chaos for years because it's just a whole bunch of bad habits that lead to chaos.
Yes.
And now I have to be more organized. So,
Right.
as a innovator creator, I'm a little less structured. I don't make my bed in the morning. I'm one of those people. The secret's out. Anyway, right? There's too many things to do in
Too
life.
many things to do.
Yeah.
Yes.
So I wonder if is there any questions that we're kind of approaching the end of our time here. I want to make sure. Are there any questions that you would wish is like, oh, I wish Pat had asked me that question?
Mm. Um, the one I guess that I could think of might be, maybe the biggest challenge you ever faced and how you got through it.
Okay, let's go there. Yeah.
And so this one impacted me both business and personally. As you know, I was married. My husband passed away in 2014. And there is a very definite phenomenon that occurs in widowhood called the
Mm.
widow's fog. And literally, you can't think your way out of it. it's just this overwhelming shutdown of your brain.
Right.
So two things helped me through that could help people at any stage here. But one was a gratitude journal, keeping a gratitude
Mm.
journal. Didn't want to do it. I was asked by in a project at church. I was someone said, "Will you participate in this? Will you keep this gratitude journal for 30 days?" I'm like, "What do I have to be grateful for at the moment?" I wasn't
Yeah.
feeling
Yeah.
it. And so I said, "Okay," though. I was asked, so I said, "Okay." And I decided I was going to do 10 gratitudes a day, and they had to be things
Wow.
that were happening that at that time, not
Yeah.
just fluff, right?
Sure.
Well, I quickly discovered 10 was impossible, so I cut it down to 5. And
Okay.
those gratitudes originally started out as just one or two words. That's all I could get for each of those was just one or two words. And after a few days, it freed up a bit and I was able to write phrases instead of just one or two words. And then
Yeah.
those phrases became sentences. The sentences became paragraphs. The paragraphs became pages. It just freed up that process and helped me get back into the world.
Wow.
The other thing that I did was knowing that my brain wasn't remembering things, that I was in this fog. The big sticky pads that you use for meetings that you put on the wall,
Yeah. Yeah.
the big ones? I wallpapered my bedroom with those. Every one of them had a different area of my life and the things I needed to be doing in that area of my life. So that
Wow.
every time I walked into my bedroom, I saw those in or out of my bedroom. I could see those and it would remind me to do them because I knew if I put it on paper, I wasn't going to remember it. I knew if I put it on the computer, I wasn't going to remember it. I needed to be reminded physically of what it was. And I had multiple projects going on in my life. At the time, I owned a bed and breakfast. I purchased the property next door to me and made a lake house rental out of it. I started my coaching consulting business. I just had and I was writing a book.
Wow.
I had all of these things going on, let alone just daily life. And so each one had its own sheet and the main topic and the sub things I needed to be working on. And those two things got me through that most difficult time of my life. But perseverance was the key as well. Keep
Nice.
putting one foot in front of the other.
Sure.
Keep going no matter what happens. You can do this. You can do hard things. You're capable of so much more than you think you are.
Yeah. That's wonderful. It's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that.
You bet.
So, Regina, where can people find you online if they want to connect with you?
Probably the easiest way is on LinkedIn. And I believe on LinkedIn, it's Regina Partain Bergman, the way we have it on the screen here. I think that's the way
Okay.
it is on LinkedIn.
Good.
Um, but that's probably the easiest way to find me is there.
Wonderful. Well, good. Well, for our audience, you know someone to go to and you want to connect with Regina, a wise business consultant right in front of you there. So, Regina, thank you so much for joining us today and rich blessings upon you and your consulting practice.
Thank you. It was a pleasure, Patrick. Thank you so much.
All right. Cheers.